does something inside you spiritually that allows you to understand that, every moment we have in this life is beautiful.
You're a traitor to your people!
And you're the devil. You kill innocent people.
There's no innocent people!
That's it, love brings everything. The happiness, the dreams, the family, the friends, everything. Actually, love, it's everything.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Liberty Libations number 107. How y'all doing tonight? I'm Jake Green, joined as always by Stephen Hilton, Zane, Placie, and Alden, Hardee. Nick's a little under the weather tonight, so he ceded his spot tonight to Alden. So that was very nice of him.
All right.
Nick had priority for the night. I actually have a chart going now to know who has priority over who for the next episode.
Does it look like a bracket system or something? Or?
No, sadly, it's not a bracket system. I just have a tally of who showed up for each episode.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just trying to keep things a little even. Well, y'all, let's see.
Well,
things that have happened.
Jake has finally learned how to count.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. It's the second week of 2025. Kamala Harris certified that she's a loser. Justin Trudeau is stepping down, and Hollywood is literally on fire. Like things are going crazy in 2025 already.
Nature is healing.
Yeah, the Patriots are in control.
All right, well let's start things off. Steven, what are you drinking tonight, man?
Wicked Weed Pernicious. I've got a Stone
Nice.
IPA. I've got a Creature Comforts, Bigger Dreams. Just a mix.
Heck yeah. Zane, what do you got, man?
A mix of hops here.
Just keeping it pretty simple with the Heineken here. When I opened it, I realized I may have been gone so long I forgot how to open a beer can so that it doesn't spray all over my laptop when I'm opening it.
You didn't have any beers in Africa?
Oh, you might not have heard it.
Well, I did, but I didn't have any beers while I was on a podcast. That makes it substantially more difficult to open it.
It is far trickier. Alden, you're not drinking in January, so what are you drinking?
Non-alcoholic gas.
That's of all the non-alcoholic beers, that's the best one.
It's really not bad, honestly.
Like I don't like most non-alcoholic beers. They have this weird aftertaste. That one
Like
does
a little
not.
bite kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, this one's.
I know the St. Pauli's not bad.
Oh, I haven't had that one yet.
That one's okay. I like that better than O'Doul's.
Or Claus Taylor.
I
The
don't think
fact
I have
that
that.
Alden has had so many non-alcoholic beers is wild to me. That is
I mean,
shocking.
I've tasted thousands of beers. I've had gluten-free or removed beers, non-alcoholic, because I used to serve them, and I needed to know what they tasted like. So
That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. It just, to me, it didn't seem like there were many non-alcoholic or gluten-free beers until very recently. But I guess
there's more for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. With
Well, I'm
like,
drinking a Curious
bags.
Elixir number 5. If anybody wants
Nice.
to check those out, I'm not drinking for far too long. So,
Are you going to listen to Mambo number 2 while you drink it?
I prefer not to, but thank you. All right, before we get started, head on over to peacefulsea.network. You can stream this show directly on the website if you want to. You can also check out our many other shows.
I didn't even know that.
Shows, movies, documentaries, all of the above. And we have brand new merch over there. We've got gift cards now. We've got a lot more Cascade Effect merch, including hats and beanies and shirts. We have the very popularly demanded by one person on this show, the Liberty Libation sticker sheet that contains 9 of the stickers.
Is that our
we
faces
offer in the store? That's the ones with our faces. It's our faces, the logos, and then drink and be free.
What a weird thought to think that my AI art face might be on someone's gun safe or something one day. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We've got don't drink the Kool-Aid water bottles. We've got official government surveillance device phone cases with little eyes all over them that say abolish the deep state or abolish the CIA, FBI, yada, 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 and the government. So yeah, still coming out with new merch every week, or mostly every week, as quickly as I can possibly think up new things. We're going to have some Trump merch coming out soon, and it will definitely not be pro-Trump merch. It will definitely be taking shots at Trump. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully that'll come out next week.
I want an officially government-sanctioned butt plug.
Oh.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go to, I don't know, like Ben Shapiro's website for that.
There you go. Hey, I hear Paul Pelosi will sell you a hammer.
Sorry, y'all. I am just getting over a sinus infection, so I'm going to be coughing a little bit tonight. Yeah, this show is also brought to you by Rabbit Eye Wine. You can go to the website, rabbiteyewine.com. Check it out. You can order it online if you are out of state. If you're in state, you can go pick it up at your local package store or winery or whatever. You can also go visit their winery if you want to. But apparently they sell more blueberries than they do wine. Apparently it's primarily a blueberry farm. So that was interesting news to learn, like 6 months into being a sponsor of the show. All right, let's get into the first topic of the night. There's more developments in the Cybertruck whistleblower. Cybertruck bombing in Las Vegas. And one of those things might be that he's a possible whistleblower. So let's watch a couple minutes of this episode of the Sean Ryan Show, and then we'll talk about it.
Do you want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operations Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they use the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive V-bid. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a V-bid was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
Vehicle-borne IED.
There you go. So this guy, what they made him out to be, first of all, we were told that he rented that truck on Turo, just like the guy in New Orleans. Not sure that's the case anymore. It seems like he owned it. Sorry, I'm about to cough again. And it seems as though he's been trying to blow the whistle on certain operations that we've done abroad where he witnessed things that we were not supposed to be doing. And it would cause a pretty seismic shift in the military. And so one thing, there are many suspicious circumstances surrounding this to begin with. He had the knowledge and the capability to have a bomb inside that Cybertruck that would have leveled the tower. That was his expertise. So he could have had something in there that would have actually caused damage. Turns out he is a Trump supporter. He likes Elon Musk. He was very happy with his Cybertruck, and he had wired it so that the FBI couldn't move on him. Otherwise, it would injure whatever agents were moving on him.
And if you watch that entire Sean Ryan episode, Tim Kennedy vouches for this guy. They're in a TV show together about Green Berets. Tim Kennedy and this dude.
Yep. Yeah, it's wild, man. And like they found a Desert Eagle at the guy's feet in the car. And what they're saying was that the DNA from the driver of the Cybertruck did not match his son's DNA.
Yeah.
And so what they took that as was that he killed himself because he learned that his son wasn't his. But what Sean Ryan and Shoemate said was that it could have been a body that he had gotten, and the Cybertruck can drive itself.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a freaking buddy. Not a lot of diversity on the show tonight. Sad.
Let's just say there's a lot of neurodiversity.
There we go.
Well, 2 people have hair, 2 people don't.
Very true.
Yeah.
Gosh, my voice is going quickly. So I might not make it through this whole episode. Yeah, I don't know. Zane, have you heard anything since you were abroad about any of this that was going on over here?
I didn't really hear too much about the Cybertruck incident. But I mean, in general, when I read or hear about, manifestos that are written like that, first of all, I think it's pretty funny that somebody's manifesto, instead of actually writing it down somewhere, they emailed it from a Proton Mail account. That seems very on brand for an incident like this. But generally, when I hear something like that has like a lot of, fancy terminology and stuff that seems like it's written in a way to make it sound important and meaningful, but actually I suspect that it isn't quite as meaningful as it purports to be, or it could just be made up. I just stop taking things like that seriously if I feel like I'm, being misled by fancy words.
Well, and I'm going to need some 2-factor authentication here. The black Ford Mustang is great, but what's the name of your first animal?
I think it was someone was talking about that they looked up like what car he had somehow, and that there was like, it kind of matched, but it kind of didn't, like either the year was off or like the cylinder engine was off or something like that. So there was like a weirdness with that, but that's...
So Nick's in the comments. He says, it seems to me that truck guy got taken out by the feds, and then they had the truck drive him there. So that's another option.
There's another whole thing that when you have a car that can drive itself, it's.
But you got Elon confirming that from telemetry data that it was not on autopilot.
Oh, interesting. I didn't hear that one yet.
Yeah, he confirmed that it was driven there. So he came out pretty quick and debunked the whole theory that somebody rolled dead man up in front of the hotel and blew it up.
Would he have, I mean, not to go conspiracy within a conspiracy, but would he have motivation to make that conclusion?
There you go. Because this guy, if you watch that whole interview on Sean Ryan, I don't know who the dude is reading the email. I forgot his name, and he even said he's not that important.
Shoemate.
There you go, Shoemate. So Shoemate was even saying that this guy was asking for he was asking Shoemate to hook him up with very powerful people, and Sean Ryan was like the only person on that list that was tangible. Because he was like, I need SecDef Hegseth on the phone, and he's like, I don't have his freaking number.
Yeah, he was trying to get Rogan. I think he was trying to get somebody else too. Somebody else really big. Yeah.
He's like, I don't have these people on speed dial, bro. Like, I can get a hold of Sean Ryan's producer, but you want to put you on the line with the incoming Secretary of Defense within 12 hours? Who am I? Who do you think I am?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird situation, dude, because it's just strange. I mean, the strangest part is like if he was like a well-known like Trump supporter, and like he was not shy about what he thought about Trump and what he thought about Elon Musk, and like the fact that his truck rolled up to Trump Tower, is it just so that more people would look at the situation? Because if he had the skills to build a much bigger bomb, then it's clearly not about attacking Trump Tower. So I just don't know.
So just can we back up a little bit, because I'm so. Can someone summarize real quickly, both for me and any viewers that might not be hip deep in it already, what is like the official narrative of what happened, and why is that official story deficient, such that we're now thinking about all the ways that it could actually be like a different theory than what is officially being reported?
Yeah, I got this one. Okay, so New Year's Day. Well, actually, it was 3:00 in the morning, New Year's Eve. So New Year's Day, early morning, Bourbon Street. You get this Shamsuddin Jabbar. Odd that it's not John Smith. He runs an EV truck. Takes a U-turn on Bourbon Street, blows right past cops, blows right up on the sidewalk where there should be bollards, but they were magically under construction or doing some rehab on them. One of their highest volume times of the year. They're about to have the freaking Rose Bowl, and then Sugar Bowl. Excuse me. Yeah. One of the college bowls. You know what I mean? Sports ball.
Bourbon Bowl.
Yeah. And just runs up on the sidewalk, Bourbon Street, runs over 36 people, gets out, starts shooting, shoots and wounds 2 police officers, and then they shoot him. He's DRT, dead right there. And then, less than 12 hours later, a Tesla Cybertruck rolls up in front of Trump Tower in Vegas and blows up. And then, so everybody was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? What's going on? And, no one knew what was going on with the Bourbon Street guy. They thought it was just some wacko. But then there was like some of the local cops were like, F this, I'm sharing this story. There was a black ISIS flag on the back of this truck. Why was my first order of business to put a bag over this thing and hide it from the news cameras? Mm-hmm. And so they shared it on Twitter. So the official news reports are saying like, we don't know the motivation. And then you get on Twitter. I mean, I got on Twitter. It was 9 a.m. New Year's Day, 9 a.m. They're like black ISIS flag on the back of the truck. Just go and it went so viral so quick. The FBI had to issue a statement that like, hey, this guy was an ISIS sympathizer. And then almost immediately they have an interview with his family, and they're saying, he converted to Islam a couple of years ago, but he really he's been increasingly angry for the last year. This is uncharacteristic for him, but we hadn't really been talking to him much this last year. So, this stinks, but we can believe it. And then there were the FBI comes out and issues a report saying that truck was spotted at Eagle Pass 2 days prior. Okay, so now we have the connection, right? Because now we have this email. This guy's saying he's trying to cross the border from Mexico. This other truck, and then we also find out these guys were in the Army together.
At the same fort.
They were stationed at the same fort. They were in the same class.
Oh, Bragg or whatever.
Yeah. So they were going through their training at the same time, same base, and then same time, same day, their trucks are crossing Eagle Pass, the border, and then New Year's Day, both of their trucks are involved in local terror attacks. Although one of them turned out to be a Cybertruck commercial instead of an actual attack.
It's a pretty good commercial too.
Yeah, right. I mean, Elon Musk was like, you couldn't have picked a worse vehicle to try to explode.
Yeah.
Are you serious? I mean, it didn't even damage the glass on the hotel.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is that the bomb in there was less powerful than a single ball bearing.
Well, no, I mean, they did show pictures of the trunk, and it was massive, camping fuel canisters, firework mortars. It was all kind of stuff. It should have been enough to pack a punch, but it wasn't anything like.
Is a ball bearing what they threw at the window at it to break the Tesla Cybertruck window? Okay.
Yeah.
Just following along this joke a little late, but.
Nick said, also important point, the body of the Cybertruck guy was burned too bad for identification, yet his passport and IDs survived, and they could recover messages on his phone within a day or two.
That before.
Well, one thing we know with terrorists, the most resilient part of a terrorist is their passport. We've known this for 23 years.
And a bandana sometimes.
Yeah.
So is the idea here that the point of the Cybertruck attack was just to direct attention to this guy's manifesto, or is that just the side theory, and the official narrative right now is that he did it for some other reason?
You're calling it a manifesto. I'm not calling. I don't consider it a manifesto.
Or whatever it is, whatever it is that was in that email.
Well, so what we witnessed New Year's Day was an instant divergence in mainstream news, official reports, and what we're getting from people on the scene on Twitter or X, and even some local cops on the scene. And then the local sheriff, even comes out and shares his story in New Orleans of what that was. And you could see mainstream news trying to connect the dots of this is a coordinated attack. We made 5 arrests on New Year's Day in connection to the attacks. So they're trying to lump them in the same basket. But then you have Sean Ryan's show, which, from the military point of view, it's him and Jocko. Those are the 2 biggest military-related podcasts on the planet.
Yeah.
And Sean Ryan has gained popularity like wildfire. Sorry for the pun. But, so he's, in terms of the target audience, it's either him or Jocko. They are the guy to release this kind of news. And then you have Sean Ryan even saying Tim Kennedy reached out to him and vouched for this guy being the alleged Cybertruck driver that they can't identify, and Tim Kennedy saying dude's legit, he's a good guy, he's in good standing. We did a TV show just last year. Yep.
These are some of the things that the quartering put together, which is Cybertruck bomber supposedly loved Trump in America, just had a baby, loved the Cybertruck, tried hooking up with his ex the day before. Don't know what that has anything to do with. Had the knowledge for a bomb to level Trump Tower and didn't, and used a 50 cal to end himself, leaving no dental records. You want to scroll down, Zach, and play that. See what he has to say. If Zach's even alive. Zach, are you alive? Zach!
But,
Zachary.
If you are going to end yourself, 50 cal is the way to do it.
Yeah, don't take chances.
Don't leave yourself, gurgling on your own fluids with a 9mm that's just going to bounce around in there.
Yeah.
Are you the Oklahoma City bomber?
Maybe one of the benefits of me talking to you today is that you'll see that maybe not everything is true that you've heard about me.
On the morning of April 19, 1995, a decorated Gulf War combat vet blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City using a truck bomb that he didn't build and a Ryder truck that he didn't rent with the help of a passenger who didn't exist. Having just gotten away with the largest act of terrorism on U.S. soil to date, the Fort Bragg-trained Special Forces Sheep Drip Dropout blended in with the crowd by making his getaway in a car without a license plate and was immediately pulled over. The ATF was the supposed target of the attack, but luckily all of their agents were out of the office that morning. Later that day, the president boldly declared,
"We will find the people who did this.
And
when we do, justice will be swift, certain, and severe."
Except for
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
who, according to the FBI, never existed. In McVeigh's unprecedented 3.5-week trial, the prosecution didn't show the CCTV footage of him and John Doe number 2 parking the Ryder truck. Didn't explain why 24 separate witnesses mass hallucinated the existence of John Doe number 2. Didn't explain why the government was testing truck bombs and the army was storing Ryder trucks at Camp Gruber right before the bombing. And didn't talk to the FBI informants who blew the whistle on the plot. But they did collaborate with the CIA, and they did convict McVeigh as the lone wolf bomber and Terry Nichols as his bomb-constructing accomplice. Still, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists, including 300 bombing victims, insist on talking about facts and evidence and refuse to simply believe what they've been told a million times by people in tailored suits with well-coiffed hair. They quote the U.S. Army Brigadier General and the FBI crime lab whistleblower and the inventor of the neutron bomb who point out the physical impossibility that the Ryder truck bomb did the damage to the building, but that doesn't matter because if there were other bombs in the building that day, we would have heard about them.
The second explosive was found and defused. I think he said another bomb.
The Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found.
They then found a third device, which was also larger than the first.
And I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb.
The FBI claims to have lost the footage showing McVeigh and John Doe number 2 parking the truck in front of the Murrah building that morning, but that's understandable because the Bureau has a lot of important evidence to store. Terry Nichols insists the FBI was involved in the plot, but thankfully a judge has saved us the trouble of listening to him by preventing lawyers from deposing him. There was a bomb squad truck parked across the street 2 hours before the blast, but that just shows the authorities were prepared for anything. And
other documents obtained by 2020 show that someone called the Executive Secretariat's office at the Justice Department in Washington and said the Murrah building had been bombed. But this was 24 minutes before the blast.
But that just shows the public was unusually vigilant that morning. Also,
apparently, before the bombing, Governor Frank Keating's brother, Mark, had been working on a novel about a terrorist bombing in Oklahoma City. Stranger still, one of the characters in the novel was named Thomas McVeigh.
But that's probably just a coincidence.
Oh my God.
What?
McVeigh wrote a letter to his sister where he admitted to being a secret Special Forces operative and he complained to friends of the pain in his ass from an army-implanted microchip. But that's crazy because if he didn't actually leave the army in 1991, there would be proof of that. McVeigh was not executed on May 16, 2001 as scheduled because
the FBI had failed to turn over thousands of pages of evidence to McVeigh's defense attorneys.
But the execution went ahead on June 11th. In a highly unusual and secret agreement, no autopsy was performed. One witness said he was still breathing, and the prison officials admitted his hearse was a decoy. Then, the case was officially closed. And if you question any part of this story, you are a paranoid wingnut birther, truther, tenther, prepper conspiracy loon who'd bring up any of these points ever again. Ever. Wow. This message has been brought to you by the friends of the FBI, ATF, DOJ, CIA, SPLC, MSM, and the U.S. Army. And remember, ignorance is strength.
Yes.
Okay. So,
and they missed two things. There was a cop that went on Alex Jones's show and said that that building was absolutely rigged with explosives, and then committed suicide the next day.
Oh.
And then isn't that also the event? Like, what was that? I'm trying to think of the timeline, because isn't that something that like Bill Clinton was down in the polls, and that caused him to go up enough to win the election?
I have no idea about that one.
Yeah.
But,
okay, so
go ahead, Zane.
This video has just made me even more confused because now, okay, so all that video did was make me think that the Oklahoma City bombing is not what it has been presented to be. Mm-hmm. But if we go back to actually like the Tesla bombing, I'm still trying to figure out what is the official story that we are disputing on the show. Like, what do people think happened? Or like, what is the mainstream media saying happened? Is it just that they don't know what happened?
What they're saying is he was sad that he didn't
Get with his ex.
That his son wasn't his. That's one of the things that they're reporting. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Other than what I heard, like the 2 days following, I don't remember at this point because I've had so many theories hurled at me.
Just a heads up for all the military folks. While you're deployed and you see a charge on your card for $43.99 at 7 a.m. at CVS, on a Saturday morning, your wife ain't hanging out with her friends.
Because my experience of hearing about both of these incidents on New Year's Day was finding out about it, several hours after it happened. And by that point, they were already saying that the attack in New Orleans was a terrorist attack and the Cybertruck thing was probably completely unrelated. Now, I was getting most of this news from ESPN because I found out about it because the Sugar Bowl had been postponed by a day.
Right.
So, but by the time that I found out about it, which wasn't that long after it happened, it seemed like pretty much everybody was already on the same page that it was a terrorist attack. And
actually, ESPN's owned by Disney.
Whatever the Cybertruck thing was not tied into it. And I guess the other thing I'm wondering is if the official narrative is we don't really know what happened, then I'm struggling to understand the complete frenzy of other people suggesting theories about it if there is no official theory that needs to be taken down.
Well, the one thing for sure is the Trump campaign is scoring massive points on this immediately. Trump didn't waste any time to steer this in his favor, saying that, Biden spent more time chasing him around with lawfare the last 4 years than securing the border. And so now, all the bordertarians are getting fired up, and I can't, what I'm stuck on, I can't fathom the value of New Orleans as a target. I mean,
agreed. I
mean, yeah, you got the Sugar Bowl and all that kind of stuff, but all that's going to do is activate Al-Qaeda. You postpone an SEC football game. That's a religion down here, bro. Al-Qaeda's coming to find you.
I've never heard that term before.
Me neither.
That is ridiculous.
That's a new one.
My gosh. Yeah, I don't know, Stephen. We did talk about this a little bit last week. You weren't here, but it was another Sean Ryan interview of a lady who was an intelligence analyst, and she basically said, "Be prepared for a year of like terrorist attacks, like small, big, all across the board." So,
and be prepared for most of them to not be terrorists.
Well, maybe we've talked about this on the show. We've known since Bush was in there that actual Al-Qaeda, and this is when Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was running Iran. He had a partnership with then president of Mexico, Vicente Fox, and they had terror cells going over to Mexico, being taught how to shave their beards and talk with a Spanish accent, and they were given comic books on how to avoid our border patrol waypoints to get over here. I mean, that goes back to the Bush era. So, we know there's tens of thousands of these guys here. Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been hearing those stories for 20 plus years now.
Yeah,
I think that's the number that she had said was 1,000 or 10,000.
They said thousands. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nick makes a funny point. If you let them put out an official story, then you have to debunk that, and the NPCs will call you a conspiracy theorist. Make them scramble. Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm not necessarily saying there's an official story. I was just saying that interesting information has come out that made me rethink what I had previously thought. That's all.
Yeah, well, and then the guy talking about gravitic propulsion systems.
It's a weird.
Now we're entangling a whole web of mess in this. I mean, this is. Does this stuff even exist? I mean, Dr. Stephen Greer just entered the chat.
Yeah, I don't know, but we'll see if anything else comes out. Sean Ryan's about to have another emergency podcast episode, so we'll see if anything comes out. I think he's doing it tonight. So
one more.
I mean, they checked into this dude. I mean, the dude had the clearance to know about such things if they exist. By the way.
It was funny that when you were there in that video, they were talking about the Oklahoma City bombing, and Fort Bragg came up in
Again.
that as well.
Dude,
and
what
I just
the
want to
heck?
mention that in the same week as all these, the truck, Cybertruck thing and the Bourbon Street thing or whatever, it was like within that week that the Freedom of Information Act on the papers for MK Ultra came out, and were like officially now revealing that they're like, oh yeah, we tested this on unsuspecting citizens and used LSD mind control bullshit, whatever. Like now it's like not just now it's out, it's a real thing, and that's not a crazy thing. And so you have that coming out the same time that we're talking about this kind of stuff or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, very true.
I didn't wait for Conspiracy Corner this time.
We'll tonight it's Zane's observations.
I'm still trying to figure out what exactly the conspiracy is. This episode so far has been nothing but one big psychotic break. Not because of any individual fact that's been said, but because I'm finding it completely impossible to actually combine all the facts that are being spat at me.
Can't hear
I
you.
don't know if I know enough about the Cybertruck thing to like have an official. I'm still just taking in information at this point, and so it's not established enough for me to have an official stance or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't have an official stance. I was just presenting new information that I learned a few days ago. So Zane, no one here, I don't think, has an official theory on this yet. It's just new information came out, and
you like water, Zane.
Yeah, I do have an official theory.
Okay.
Propulsion systems are a real thing, and we've had them for 40 years. It's just now to the point where they can't be hidden anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because civilian video capabilities is now to a level that they can't hide this crap from us.
Brian says it was the Reptoids.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I do have to give you guys a bit of credit, because I think this is the first time you guys have ever showed up to a show without an official story.
That's fair.
Sometimes we're just...
that you think happened. So it's actually you guys that are being.
Zane, we got to do something about your internet, man. Like we hear about 90% of what you say, so we get the gist. But then suddenly you freeze and we don't hear. There we go.
Are you in LA, Zane?
Is he?
Oh yeah, looks like he was.
All right, we'll have him pop back on. All right, Zane, trying again.
Fixed it.
All right,
Yeah.
definitely fixed it. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. Go ahead and oh, you already have it up. I'll bring it up. There we go.
Holidays. I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future.
Everything
throughout the course of my career. Any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, Justin Trudeau is stepping down as prime minister. What a freaking day! I mean,
or shall we say Justin Castro?
Justin Castro stepping down. It's great. Yeah, I mean, he was one of the worst things to happen to Canada in a very long time, and that place has had its share of terrible things. And to see him like voluntarily step down is strange.
No, he was definitely hoisted by his own petard.
There we go.
That was, this was a total party self-destruction. He's been running off his cabinet members for the last like 18 months. There's been high turnover in his cabinet, but then like the highest levels of his cabinet. I mean, we talked, a couple of weeks ago about his finance minister or whatever she was, publicly leaving because she was like, hey, we need to do X, Y, Z to make sure the Americans don't hit us with tariffs. And he's like, nah, we're good. And she's like, no, we're not. Have you seen the price of the loonie versus the dollar? it's at a 25-year low. We've got to fix this. And he's like, how about your transportation minister? And she's like, how about you f off? Because I'm out of here.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. What are what's everybody's favorite bad Trudeau moment? Does anybody have anything that Trudeau's done that really sticks out in your brain as oh my gosh, this guy's an idiot?
I mean, this is obviously the hack answer, but no retrospective on Trudeau would be complete without bringing up the fact that, during the trucker protests a few years ago, he not only froze the bank accounts of all the truckers that were there with no due process, he also froze the bank accounts of anybody that was contributing to the truckers with no due process either. Which is that's some real new levels of totalitarianism.
That's some Australia bullshit right there.
My favorite's got to be during COVID, and this isn't from him directly, but this is from his party. I believe this was in BC. It was during COVID. They were concerned about whether or not COVID was sexually transmitted, and the health minister recommended the use of glory holes as a means to prevent COVID transmission during activity.
Stephen, you may have heard about this, but on a related note, COVID started the spring semester of my junior year of college at Georgia, and then it was keeping on going during my senior year. And I never personally looked at this document, but I did have it attested to me that this document existed, that the UGA health department put out some kind of document explaining sex positions that minimized face-to-face contact.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
What is going on at Georgia? We picked the wrong school, Alden.
Yeah. Don't even need a bag at that point.
I don't know if this was Trudeau specifically or just someone in his administration or the police force or something, but it was while he was there and they had such a problem of car break-ins that their answer was, they were like, leave the keys in the car. Make it easy for them. Don't put up a fight.
Yeah.
What? Let's leave the keys in the car? The level of problem solving there is.
I think Seth Rogen's even talked about that. When he's in certain parts of LA, he's got a throwaway, a 98 Corolla, and he leaves the windows down with the keys in the seat when he goes to work.
I dare you to take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite Trudeau moment is actually a series of moments where there are so many times where on camera he's at an event and he's leaving or kind of off on the edge of whatever's going on, talking to the camera and then starting to walk off. And then somebody will recognize him and his face lights up and then they just rip into him. My favorite thing to watch. It's happened 15 times and it's delicious every single time.
I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen this effect happen. It's pretty
Nick
hilarious.
says the blackface Trudeau.
Technically, it was brown face.
It was brown face. You're true. You're correct. Let's see, Stephen.
Yeah.
This can't be real.
Oh yeah.
Zach, pull it up, man. pull up the thing from the private chat.
Oh no, I'm scared.
It's what he just said, and it's real.
Oh my god.
Try glory holes for safer sex during coronavirus. British Columbia CDC says.
Yep.
What can you even say?
In your own home, just punch out the drywall in the bedroom and just role play.
What happens if you have a studio apartment?
Oh, good Lord.
Use the hole in the sheet.
All right, y'all. Well, it's the end of an era. I'm sure he'll still be in the media and we can still make fun of him. But he will not be doing so from a position of total power in Canada, which is really sad, but also probably better.
Probably better.
Yeah, probably much better for the world.
Well, what scares me is, who's to follow. They say it's one of these conservative guys from, one of the conservative parties up there.
Pierre's going to win. Pierre has a 95% chance of winning, and we're okay with that.
Okay, cool.
Is he related to Castro, though?
He's definitely not related to Castro.
Maybe Genghis Khan. I don't know.
But he's a massively pro-Bitcoin candidate, which is great.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
And I do have to say, with all this talk about Trump wanting to annex Canada and all the Republicans being like, yeah, we should just annex Canada, I think people need to stop and think whether we even want Canada.
We do not want Canada.
Canada is full of the same commies that elected Trudeau in the first place. I don't even
multiple
want them.
times.
I don't want them for the same reason that I want California to leave the United States. It's like, get out.
Dude, 100%. I have no interest in having Canada be the 51st state. I think that is a stupid move, other than the fact that they probably
Is this being talked about? Am I
Trump has quoted it out there a bunch of times, including to Trudeau's face at a dinner.
Yeah. Well, because he's talking about he was leaning into the $100 billion trade deficit.
Zach says, "Can they be our second Puerto Rico?"
And that's basically what it would wind up being. That's exactly what it would wind up being. They're like, we don't pay any of your taxes. You give us a ton of money, and
if I don't need a passport to go there, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. You don't need a passport to come here, and we get voting rights in your government, and we don't really have to pay taxes to you. I mean, that's what it would be. That's that's basically what it is. Is what Trump is bringing up. We're essentially giving these guys $100 billion a year for their population size.
Yeah,
it's basically California.
So here's the real question, Zane. Would you trade California for Canada?
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah,
I have to check on the pot. So if the entirety of Canada were one big state, how many electoral votes would it have? Because if it was less than California, then yeah, I would.
Yeah. California is prettier though. Canada pretty much has like two kinds of environment, and California has such cool places.
Which is just insane because it's
and
like
the best beer on the
bigger.
planet.
Beer, is it?
California has the best beer on the planet.
Yeah, great wine too. So
yeah,
maybe we don't get rid of California. Maybe we just get rid of the far west side of California.
Well, we can split NorCal into the state of Jefferson, which is what they've been trying to do for the last 15 years anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, the southern half of California, yeah, y'all can have it.
Zach says, would the flag have 50 stars and one maple leaf?
One little white maple shape. That's pretty funny.
That's so
fun. I mean,
all right.
Canada does have lots of beautiful places to go if you're willing to be a bit cold.
That's true, 100%. But they all look similar, whereas in California, it's a vastly different terrain.
When I was up in Washington, I wanted to go to Banff and the BC area, and right when I moved, like months after I moved to the BC, area there, COVID happened, and then they wouldn't let me in. So
you had months to go, and you didn't.
I went once to pick up Haley from the airport up there, and then we were planning a trip, and then the questions at the border, they were like, did you come in from the Wuhan province? This is like the early days. This is like what there were rumblings about it.
Were you one of the 10 people at the Wuhan wet market?
Yeah. Patient zero here.
Yeah, you're not welcome here, but we do invite you to peek through this hole in the wall.
Yeah. Or fuck through it.
Have you recently eaten a pangolin?
Or fuck one. Did you see that South Park special?
Yeah.
Yes,
that's such a good one. All right. Our second bit of really awesome news this week. It was news that we all knew was coming, but it was still funny. Go ahead and hit play on this.
The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris.
This guy standing.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Gosh, I would feel sorry for her if she was almost anybody else.
Human, yeah.
Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
Are they cheering?
What are they cheering
The votes
for?
for
Are they
President
cheering
of the
that
United
she
States
only
are
got? Yeah.
What are they cheering for? Like that is
Golly.
Who was cheering? Was it the people for her or against her?
Fun fact, though, rabbit eye wine is packed with enough antioxidants you can remain happy through something like that.
It's true. She was probably on a few bottles of that.
Right.
I heard she does watch the show.
The real electoral college are the friends we made along the way.
The fact that she had to read off and certify the election that she got obliterated in is one of the funniest things. That doesn't happen very often, and it was great.
I think the last time it happened was in 2000 with Al Gore.
Yeah,
Because
right.
it happens whenever the sitting vice president runs and loses.
Yeah. You're right. I think that was the last time. So yeah, just another delicious moment this week. Gore and then Nixon. Yep. So yeah, I don't know. Any top 5 favorite Kamala moments now that she's not going to be around anymore?
You exist in the context.
Just any word salad that she ever did is
no.
Oh yeah, we're gonna unburden you from what could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
I love Venn diagrams.
Nick says, "How's come the Dems just rolled over and let Cheeto Hitler win without even storming the Capitol?" You know, it is pretty funny. There's a picture of Trump and Obama at a funeral, and like Obama's laughing with Trump, yet like he's called him Hitler in the media like a bunch of times. Like
it's almost like they don't believe it.
It's just insane that people can't get that through their stinking heads. That like these people don't actually hate each other.
It's theater, man.
They're playing a game.
Yeah.
Same as like David Muir or whatever his name is, Muir, whoever the reporter is, Muir. Tell me how to pronounce that.
Muir?
I think Muir.
Muir. Okay,
Or maybe
David
it's
Muir reporting at the wildfires, and then he turns and his like fake fire jacket that he's wearing, it looks like a firefighter's jacket, is cinched together with clothespins to make him look better.
That's actually pretty funny.
Oh my god!
Like all these people are just acting, and like, it thoroughly astounds me how people can't see that at this point. That they were all like, Hillary's been friends with Trump for decades.
Oh,
like
they were both in
it's
New York.
crazy how far they go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the other crazy part is he went to parties at a lot of their houses while he was dating Tyra Banks, and they've got the gall to call him a racist. Like, are you kidding me? You know, the dude dated the hottest black chick in the country for years.
Yeah.
And what's really sad about all this is I know that we all, had a field day right after the election with like the election night meltdowns on TikTok of people completely losing their minds over the results.
Yeah, it was great.
And it's like there probably are some amount of those people that are also just acting and don't really feel that way. But for all the people that recorded those TikToks where that truly was how they felt, because politics is their whole life and they have been successfully propagandized into saying that Trump is Hitler, the Democratic establishment did that to them. And the Democratic establishment doesn't believe it. And all they've done is completely, screw up the mental health of all these millions of people that fell for it. And it's really sad.
Well, and that's why I love what Dave Smith was doing. Not long after the election, Dave Smith did some rounds, and he says, hey, let's try to stay focused on the controllers and not the controlled.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
It's so easy to make fun of the multicolored hair people, screaming at the sky like their world is over.
I really try not to.
Doing a TikTok video where they're just hysterically crying that they obviously have rehearsed, try not to focus on that. It's easy. It's definitely low hanging fruit. But so, like you said, Zane, someone knowingly, willingly twisted them in that direction, knowing what they're selling is absolute crap.
Yeah.
Someone did that on purpose. Focus on them.
I also
they
think,
deserve every bit of the rage.
I also think the more that, like, if we or I or any one person like ridicules another person, in some way there's growth that we can all do. And I feel like you're locking yourself in a little to like your current position, because you'll start to like want to defend that identity because of the cognitive dissonance, the more that you're like a bully about it or whatever. And so I think it behooves us all not to, do that if you truly want to be your best self, and if you want to keep learning and growing and everything and be adaptable. And because like if I look back at every 5 years of my life, there's things that I believe that I'm like, I don't believe that now. I might look back on this show, in a week and be like, I don't know what I was talking about. You know what I mean? Like I try to stay pretty malleable with that, like, because I don't want to lock myself in. And I think the more that if you put down someone else, the more that solidifies you in your current position. And you're also probably wrong about something, So.
No, well, and then it also makes it more embarrassing to change directions at that point too.
Yes, that's exactly the thing.
You've committed to a certain tract.
Yes. Yeah. The embarrassment is a hard thing to overcome for a lot of people. And I think that's well said. You put a nice bow on what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to move on to our final primary topic of the evening. Go ahead and hit play. We'll watch a couple minutes of this. I don't think we'll watch the whole thing, Zach.
Does his head look
Hey, everyone. I want to talk about something important today, because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression.
Why is he dressed
and I still
like
believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political. But there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
All right.
More specifically, here's...
So the basic idea is that he's getting rid of their third-party fact checkers and going back to a more free speech-based platform. Now, my question for you three and the audience, if you want to chime in, is at what point does he get forgiven for what he did in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? No. My question is, like, you have to leave some room to forgive people for making mistakes, no matter how big they are. So at what point, if he keeps going this direction and keeps and continues down this path and doesn't ever backtrack, at what point do we go, yeah, I like Facebook, I like Zuckerberg?
It's one thing to approve of or applaud a certain move or a shift in direction, but I will never trust him again. And I never did, but and part of that is because the situation around him has not changed. With how he's come into the power of his position and the relationships that he has with government and intelligence, and there's just no way. And so I can still say good on you for doing that. It's what you should have done anyway, but I don't have to trust you just because you made that move. So forgiveness is not even the way I'm looking at it. It's just trust, and it's just I appreciate everything that if it starts to get better, actually better, we'll see. But there's no way I can ever trust him.
There you go. And it's a trust thing at that point. in the early 1950s, down in Peru or Argentina, how many old ladies does Hitler have to help across the street to forgive himself for the Holocaust?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
funny.
you know, no amount of free, awesome paintings is going to just erase that. You know, like
putting his art school to use in Argentina here.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just painting the hillsides out there.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist the Hitler comparison, but it's seriously, and Nick has a good point in the chat too. The Liberty Memes page got zucked 12 hours after that video went up.
Really?
Yeah.
To be fair, some of the same things happened with X. Like even after Elon said what he said, they still had to go in and take out like an insane amount of code. So it was a progression. So like, it's not going to be like a flip of a switch. It's a complicated procedure. It's not going to be simple. So yeah, just keep that in mind too.
No, yeah. Some of it is automatic. I did notice that being libertarian is now back.
It's allowed now.
Yeah. And they came back with a vengeance, son. I'm already harvesting what they're putting out.
I think that the more clearly that you articulate how and why you went wrong, and the more clearly you state that your mind has been changed, the more convincing of a statement that it is. And in that respect, I think what Zuck said leaves some to be desired, because he never really comes out and says, yeah, the government strong-armed us into taking stuff that they didn't like down, and we're not going to let that happen again.
Yeah,
it was much more like, we had all these algorithms, and the algorithms didn't really do what we wanted them to do. But we're actually but even when you say the algorithms didn't do what we wanted them to do, maybe at the time they probably were doing what you wanted them to do, and now for political convenience, it's easy for you to say that they didn't do what you wanted them to do. So I'm very, very glad that he came out and felt like he wanted to say this. I'm not sure that it really is truly a change of heart on his part. Maybe it is. I guess I hope that it is. The closest that this video comes to, being, what I described is actually at the end, where he actually just comes right out and calls out the European government for being extremely censorious, and also calls out the U.S. government too for censoring a lot of people over the past couple of years. And even if Zuck was on board with that 2 years ago, to just come right out and say, yeah, all the Western governments are really on board with censoring people right now. I think even just saying that is, a somewhat dangerous thing to say publicly if you're the CEO of a big tech company.
And in bed with the government.
That could whenever you say something that could make you enemies, that instantly makes me respect you more. Because there is actually a potential cost associated with what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can pull that video back up and play like the last 45 seconds of it, but I think that's the best part of the video.
Gotcha. Zach, you want to pull it up and we can play the last 45 seconds? So
that was all there was.
On that particular.
Oh, that was it for that.
Yeah.
That edit. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. No worries. Sorry, Zane, you don't get your
point, though,
but
Zane,
go watch it, because I did watch the whole video, and there were parts that were better than others, and yeah, you're right. Saying things that could lose you support from certain people it makes you more credible in certain areas as well. So
yeah, it was the same reason that I started respecting. It was the same reason that when Elon Musk came out and said, yeah, if Donald Trump loses this election, I'm probably going to go to jail. I really respected him for saying that, because it was probably true. Yeah. And he had done a lot of things during the campaign that had made him a lot of really powerful enemies, which makes me think that he really believes it.
Yeah, probably right.
Well, and we know that since the censorship, Facebook usership has just dropped off the map. he's getting his butt kicked by, I mean, even apps like TikTok just absolutely just reaming him in terms of, new users, consistent users, stock price is fluctuating. He's getting his butt kicked in the AI race. He's losing all around.
Also Facebook now?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. He also owns Instagram and WhatsApp.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. That was a big part of the Benghazi trials because they were like, why is official government communique going over a private communication app? Because that was what, the Benghazi consulate raid. That's when we found out that our State Department was using WhatsApp instead of some government app to communicate. And they were being asked why. Well, the government app sucks, first off.
Shocker.
Yeah, exactly. But then they were like, WhatsApp, China's listening in on WhatsApp. And they're like, yeah, exactly.
I feel like this is like the equivalent of like someone that's worked at the post office for 20 years and then they send their packages through UPS.
Right. Yeah. So it's a business move. It's a popularity move. He's coming out with his late 90s Justin Timberlake hairdo to kind of foster charisma.
He's wearing a $900,000 watch.
There you go.
Funny you say Justin Timberlake because he was in the movie The Social Network.
Right.
Him.
Right.
And he looked like that.
Exactly. But after watching that video of him talking about free speech, like, hey, I want my Zuckerberg free speech chia pet this year for Christmas.
There we go. All right, y'all. It's that time. All freaking right. Zane back where he needs to be.
I just resign. I lose.
Zane, you got to pull the trivia back onto the screen because you.
I did upload it.
I know, but you also signed out like 3.
Hey, I hear the music this time.
Oh, does it go away when I? It's still there. Oh, there it is. Okay.
There you go. Boom.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Libations Trivia as it should be. I know everyone in the audience has had to suffer through.
Oh, this might get complicated with reading questions.
Yeah, we got Lagations Trivia.
Oh, no.
We can hear you. Just keep going. If they would shut up, it would be easier.
Anyhow, as we've mentioned earlier in the episode, I was gone over Christmas and New Year's for a few weeks, visiting my sister, who's a Peace Corps volunteer in Kenya. So my family and I went over there to see the sights and hang out with her for a few weeks. And as has become a bit of a tradition on the show, whenever I take a trip, when I come back, the trivia is themed around that.
So we're going to have Kwanzaa trivia.
Kwanzaa was made up in LA or San
You'll
Francisco.
be shocked. You'll be shocked to know that I don't think there is a single person in Kenya that even knows that Kwanzaa exists.
Yeah.
Nick says then get a Starlink.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. My internet is telling me that it's fine.
Oh, okay. Grumpy.
Good night, Grumpy.
Night, Grumpy.
Good night, Grumpy. Sorry you can't stick around for trivia, buddy.
All right, I guess we'll just power through it.
We'll just power through, man. Let's just do it.
All right, your categories for tonight are East African geography, safari animals, and the history of Zanzibar.
I am just so effed.
Yeah, this isn't my forte here.
Round 1. Question 1. Which of these countries is Kenya?
Oh no. Did he say something? I don't know.
Steven.
B.
That's what.
No.
Oh man, well good, because I was gonna say it.
Alden.
D. Hey.
B was Ethiopia, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
I thought Ethiopia was the one below that, below D there, but I guess I'm totally wrong.
E is Tanzania.
Everyone knows that.
Oh yeah, that's where tanzanite comes from. That's my favorite gemstone.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know where South Africa is.
Too bad I didn't ask that.
Yeah.
Question 2. Which of these island chains is Zanzibar? Steven.
C.
No. Jake.
That's really
Hey.
Oh, okay, you got it. This is like which door has a goat or a car behind it, kind of like the math. I was like, I'm gonna let one go to rule out, statistically, and then I tried to go, but Jake beat me.
It's like Nick got it in the comments right after I got it. So.
Did he?
Yeah.
Question 3. This monument is located at what line of latitude? Alden.
43.
No.
I think it probably has a name, Alden. I don't think it's a number.
Oh.
Steven.
0?
Oh, is it? That would make sense. Oh, man.
It is, in fact, the equator.
We were just down in Zanzibar, so I thought further, but
yeah.
I should have known by this little ball that had a belt around it was the Earth and equator.
No kidding. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just now saw that. I was reading the thing like an idiot.
Yeah, I was like, lions. Yeah, what does that have to do?
Question 4. What mountain is this? Alden.
Kilimanjaro? Hey.
Blurg.
That is the only African mountain I know, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. Yep.
It's the only African mountain anybody knows.
Even the Africans.
Wait a minute. Do you guys remember the Halo, 3 days where if you got a certain kill streak in a row, it was Kilimanjaro after a while?
Dude, so good.
I don't remember what number it was. Bonus trivia. What number of kills was Kilimanjaro in Halo 3? For the audience, if anyone knows.
Question 5. Characterized by its large system of above-ground roots, what type of forest is pictured here? Jake.
Mangrove.
Oh,
yeah,
is it really?
There you go.
They look so tall. I'm used to the Florida mangroves.
Those
Is
are
it a
those
different
are
species.
Those are federally protected in Florida. You're not allowed to cut those.
Hmm.
I need to go
Question
cut some
6.
mangroves.
Pictured here are fruits of the coffee plant, which are referred to by what word? Alden.
Berries? Are we looking general or specific?
No. Steve.
Okay.
Steven.
Cherries.
They
Dang
are
it.
indeed coffee cherries.
Yes.
Dang it.
Should have known that one.
Yeah.
Coffee cranberries.
I know that because of Jack Nicholson in whatever movie that was, where he talked about Kopi Luwak.
Okay.
Oh my God! It was the bucket list, or
Yeah.
Talk about it being weasel shit or whatever. Like that's so.
Yeah, I
right.
was about to say, is that the kind of coffee where the civet eats it and then poops it out? And
Yeah,
then
and it's like half digested or fermented or whatever the hell. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Question 7. What specific kind of grass is pictured here? Steven.
Mondo.
No. Alden.
Tall grass.
No. Jake.
Monkey grass.
No.
Ugh.
Your hint is that it's also referred to as citronella grass.
Oh.
Jake.
Lemongrass.
Damn it! Is that right?
I just guessed.
That looks nothing
You're
like
guess.
lemongrass.
I had no idea that was correct. I didn't even think that was an actual grass.
I cook with lemongrass, and it's like a long reed-looking thing. Maybe it's a different one, or I don't know. It looks nothing like the lemongrass that I am.
Crushing it tonight, y'all. You guys better catch up.
You're crushing it on accident.
Question 8. The bark of this tree is used to produce what spice? Alden.
Cinnamon.
Ah.
Good job, Alden.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like we're pretty close.
The end of round 1, I've got Alden with 3, Jake with 3, and Steven with 2.
Nice. Yeah, we are close.
Gosh, we are crushing the audience, y'all. This feels so good.
Round 2,
Is that just
Safari.
because Nick's in the audience?
Yeah, don't tick them off. I mean, round 3 is right around the corner.
Shit.
Question 1. The word safari in Swahili translates to what word in English?
Oh, Ted comment.
Steven.
Travel.
Yeah, the travel or journey or
nice.
all that. Question 2. Inspired by the coat of a zebra, what method of camouflaging ships was used extensively during World War I? Steven.
Striping.
No. That's actually very close, but no. Alden.
Oh, what? Zazzle is close? Oh my god.
Yeah,
Dazzle,
audience
dazzle.
has it. It's Dazzle.
No, it's not. No, it is not
Zazzle
dazzle.
dazzle. There's no way.
That is insane.
The audience got it? Ridiculous.
Question 3. How many vertebrae do Alden?
7.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah, it's the same as us.
Oh my god.
I am effed. I hate it.
Mark Twain has 7 vertebrae also.
Oh man.
But if you use the Chinese method, it's 24 because it's based on the 12-day, 14-day solar calendar. I learned that in acupuncture class when I was training qigong back when I was 16.
When you lived a different life.
No, I really got certified in a form of qigong when I was 16.
No, I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Question 4. What is the meaning of the number on this tortoise's shell? Alden.
Age? Nice.
So that one is 140. The oldest one is apparently 200 years old in the tortoise preserve that we were at, but I didn't see that one.
Man.
Okay.
Question 5. What large animals...
Zach said body count.
Alden.
Hippos.
Those rocks are in fact hippopotamuses.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear the question.
He didn't ask the question.
No, I looked and saw the little hippo lumps.
His lovely hippo lumps.
Oh.
Question 6. In a surprising example of global trade networks, a staggering proportion of all the ivory exported from East Africa in the 19th century found its way to factories in the town of Alden.
Damn it, you said town. I was hoping you'd say country. Oh my god. Mumbai. The small town of Mumbai.
No. Century found its way to factories in the town of Deep River. In what U.S. state?
Oh god damn it. Town, state.
Steven.
Maryland.
No.
Why Maryland? That's an interesting guess.
Jake.
Port St. Louis.
Not a state.
Oh, you said state?
It was confusing.
I
He
heard
started
town
with
before.
Yeah.
What was the town thing?
All right, let me
town
just
was
read
Deep
this.
River.
Okay, so people did hear it.
Yes, a staggering amount of ivory found its way through global trade into the town of Deep River in what American state?
Thank you. That was almost the perfect paraphrase of my question. Okay, Alden.
Delaware.
Okay, we've had a bunch of guesses.
No.
Mississippi.
Not Mississippi.
Michigan.
Not Michigan.
Pennsylvania.
Not
Idaho.
Pennsylvania. Not Idaho. Steven.
New Jersey.
No. Alden.
Massachusetts.
No. Jake.
Louisiana.
Okay, so your hint is I
It's a state.
was absolutely shocked when I heard this, and the only explanation I could come up with for it is that this state was also well known as being the whaling capital at this time. Jake.
Delaware.
I said
Already
Delaware.
been said. Alden.
Dang it.
Maine.
No. Steven.
Damn.
New Hampshire.
No. Jake.
There's a lot of whales. in New
Massachusetts.
Also
I said
already been said.
Massachusetts. Oh, I got it.
Alden.
Rhode Island.
No.
Damn it.
Whaling capital.
Jake.
Freaking
me.
Alaska. I don't know.
Oh,
No.
I didn't think of that. Oh.
Steven.
Florida.
No.
They do have whales.
Not Hawaii. Not Iowa. Alden.
Connecticut? Where else Wales? Okay.
Oh my God! What? What?
I was like, I named all of New England. Like,
The whaling capital of the country is Connecticut.
I would have thought Maine or something, but Connecticut, sure.
So I read this fact in a museum where it was like 80% of all of the ivory exported from East Africa during that time wound up in Connecticut. I just thought that was one of the most random facts I'd ever heard in my whole life.
That's a lot of the ivory. That's a large percentage going to one spot. That's crazy.
That question made me angry. I'm not happy with Zane. Don't have so many.
I bet you thought
in a question, you goofball.
What?
Don't have so many descriptors in a question. Town, deep river, and state all describe a geographic location, but they all meant something completely different. That was so annoying.
I started with Mumbai, but got to Connecticut, so.
I bet you would not have thought that Connecticut would be the answer to one of my African tribute questions.
No.
Hey, is Mumbai and Connecticut on the same latitude?
No.
I don't think so.
You know, all of South America is east of Michigan.
Yeah.
Wow.
True facts.
And Bolivia is bigger than Greenland, but on the map, on a globe map, it doesn't look like that.
Round 3.
All right. So Alden has really started running away with it. Alden has 11. Steven has 4. Jake has 3. Audience has 2.
I hate my life.
But it is still anyone's game. And now that you all know where Zanzibar is on the map, let's see how much you know about its history.
So much.
This is gonna go so poorly.
Question 1. Between the departure of the Portuguese in 1698 and the establishment of a British protectorate in 1890, Zanzibar was largely under the influence of what? Alden.
Spain.
Jake.
France.
Steven.
The
You just
Dutch.
said
Was largely under the influence of what Middle Eastern country? Alden.
Saudi Arabia.
No. Jake.
Oh wait, how old? What year?
That's what I'm trying to remember at this
Oh
point.
god, 16 something. Or some shit. Oh my god. No.
Turkey.
That's what I was gonna...
Steven.
Is it
Persia.
No.
Damn.
Have any of you guys seen the YouTube video History of the Entire World, I guess, by Bill Wirtz?
I don't know, but if I
Is
did,
there-
it didn't matter, so.
Okay, the audience has not gotten it right yet.
Persia was the Middle East in that time period.
Alden.
Iraq.
No. Audience has it. It's Oman.
Oh man. Missed that one.
Alden. Shut up.
My entire knowledge of that country is Yakko from the Animaniacs pointing to it on a map.
Question 2. What kind of boat with its iconic triangular sail is pictured here? Steven.
Sailboat.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I'm not gonna accept that.
No. Ooh.
Alden.
A catamaran.
No.
Damn bastard bitch son of a fuck. It's the only other sailboat I know.
No, it's not a caravel, but that's a good guess.
Back open to the floor.
Jake?
Nope. Nope.
Steven?
A Moana mobile.
Wrong. Literally on the opposite side of the world from this.
Similar design, though.
It's not a
because of
schooner.
aliens.
Oh, he's frozen. Schooner from the audience.
No. Alden?
A dogamaran.
No. Alright, I'm gonna close this here pretty soon.
Yeah, honestly, no one knows.
This is a dhow.
Oh, obviously, everyone's favorite sailboat. Fucking Christ.
Not once have I heard of that.
The Dow Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, did this answer from Nick come in before or after I said what the answer is?
You closed it. We're moving on.
I don't know, but it was. I think it was after, but he probably
Nick's
said it.
won
before.
enough. We're moving on.
Yeah. No,
Question
Nick
3. Pictured here is a room in what kind of facility? Dating originally to the 1880s, it is currently undergoing restoration. Alden.
A bath?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Good job.
Yay.
Question 4.
I think. Oh, forgot he has 4. Oh, we got so used to the other method here.
This suit was worn by what musician? Steven.
Michael Jackson.
No. Alden.
My
Prince.
What?
Prince.
No.
Damn.
This suit was worn by what musician who was born in Zanzibar during his final concert tour? Jake hasn't gone yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Open it up. I don't care.
Steven.
Diablo, Master of the Ocarina.
No. It is, in fact, Freddie.
Oh my god!
Audience has
It looks like something he would wear, but I was like, is he fucking. There's no way he was born in Zanzibar. That's crazy.
Well, was.
That's crazy.
Okay, Zane, what is
So
the demonym for. What is the demonym for Zanzibar?
Let me check on that. I think it's like Zanzibarian.
Okay.
I prefer to get the last question if I win because it feels more right, but that's fine.
I really hated that trivia game.
It's so annoying how much I was thinking that Freddie Mercury like looks like I've seen him in that, but then I'm like, there's no way. Damn.
I was so sure of myself, like, because I watched that Michael Jackson concert.
He had, I mean, white with like the scarf thing, like he had a similar look, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. That King of Pop tour that he did that was aired on television, like on ABC. Or, like it was network television. It was like Channel 7. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, congratulations, Alden. Whatever.
Hey.
We tweeted out or commented out 30 likes, and Alden has to dress like that.
30? It's a low bar. If someone buys me the garb, maybe I can't afford that.
All right. We've reached the point in the show where it would normally be like a conspiracy corner or something like that. But today is Zane's observations from his trip to Africa. So, Zane, what do you want to talk about, man?
Yeah, so there were a few interesting things that I just, had some comments on, wanted to get your take on.
Like on the modern construction of the Dow. Sorry, never mind. Go ahead.
You read my mind.
Yeah.
No. So obviously when you're, in Africa and just driving around in between places, you see a lot of, towns that look pretty rough, places that you wouldn't really, want to live, which is probably not shocking to anybody that that's the observation. But it does hit you differently when you're actually seeing it for yourself rather than just intellectually knowing that there are people out there that are poorer than you. It's a bit different when you actually see, the entire towns that are just built out of cinder blocks and sheet metal roofs. And so I kind of turned into Adam Smith for a bit because I had a reflection on the nature and causes of the wealth of nations. And so just thinking about why is it the way that it is. And so my first thought was, so I just looked this up today. Kenya's GDP per capita is about $2,000 per person. And I know there are issues with using GDP per capita as a measure of, the average person's standard of living, but it's the best that we can go with as a first order approximation. And I was wondering, at what point in the history of the United States was the GDP per capita about $2,000 per person? And then we can compare what was the U.S. like at that time compared
Is that
to
adjusting
what
for inflation or relative? Yeah.
Yeah. So trying to get the everything on a consistent basis, and then we could compare what element of the difference is just due to economic and resource differences versus what parts of it may be due to other things like differences in culture and what have you. And so I'm interested that it did not turn out exactly the way that I expected, because I'm interested to know from you guys, when do you think in the United States the GDP per capita was $2,000 per person? This is not
trivia
a trivia question.
Yeah.
Steven, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I would say, and this is an annual basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say mid 1700s.
Before we were even American?
Yeah.
Like when we were colonies,
yeah.
Before the United States?
I would. That's a good question. I'm going to go just before the end of the Civil War.
So
Alden.
During the Civil War, is that what you're saying? You said before the end of it?
Yeah, just at the end of it, that was the last time.
So you're still saying slaves aren't people in this time period, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to go kind of Steven's route and go
whatever.
Pre-independence, but I'll go even older, and I'll say 1700 flat.
Okay, so you guys were actually a bit better than I was, because when I was trying to think about this, and this was before I looked up what the GDP per capita of Kenya right now is today, but I would have guessed that the U.S. GDP per capita probably at some point between the 1930s and 1950s was what Kenya is now. But in fact, you have to get, and the statistics on this are a little bit hard to pin down exactly, but you do have to go to the middle of the 19th century, so very possibly before the Civil War.
So Jake was supposed to start,
to the point where the U.S. was on the same economic level then as Kenya is now. And that was really fascinating to me, because you always hear about just how quickly developing economies grow. And it's like to even envision what it was like to live in the United States over 150 years ago. You just probably can't even imagine. It's like a completely different world. And yet that is what a lot of Africa is like now. And Kenya isn't even one of the most poor countries in Africa to even be comparing to.
Well, and then you got guys like like Akon that show up and they've got like 50 million US to throw into something. Like, and it's a blank slate basically, because you're telling me that everyone's way of life is cinder blocks and a tin roof. So nothing's permanent. There's not poured concrete in the ground. There's no underground utilities. There's no lead pipes in the ground that are gonna, rust and cause issues in 50 or 75 years. It's the perfect clean slate for Bob Ross to come in there and paint Wakanda, right?
Right. So there, and this is another thing about it, because there are like places in Kenya, especially in the big cities, that are of equivalent like niceness as places that you would find in the U.S. And this is obviously, communists will enter the chat and say, oh, in developing countries, the economic inequality is just completely off the charts. And I think the reason for that is not anything nefarious. It's just that when you have the rest of the technology, it becomes physically possible to build nice hotels and nice restaurants in other places in a way that it was not physically possible to build a nice hotel in 1850s America.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably, and like, I mentioned earlier that developing economies do grow really fast, and it is growing really fast. It's just they're growing really fast off of a base that is very low.
Yeah.
And so you end up with the top business people that are legitimately causing economic growth, but then that causes them to be able to have an amount of wealth that's completely unfathomable to anybody else that lives there. But the other thing I wanted to comment on is that quality of life is really not 100% correlated just with standard of consumption. And that's something that everybody in the US says. Everybody says no money, no problems. You can't buy happiness, blah, blah, blah. But again, it's a lot easier to observe that when you're actually in a developing country where everybody actually does have significantly less money, and yet they all seem to be pretty much content, at least as far as I was able to tell. The descriptions of these of people that live there being very happy are not exaggerated, at least from my very limited experience of being there. And I want to pose another thought experiment to you, which is that one of the things that we did while we were there was that we went to, it's called a Maasai village, because Kenya has a lot of different tribes of people that have
the Maasai are the warriors.
The biggest is called the Maasai tribe. Yeah.
The Maasai
so
are
there are
the warriors.
still a lot of places.
The Maasai are well known. They're best warriors. They can go and they've done, like with modern medical equipment, they've done testing on this. They can go from the deepest levels of sleep to full adrenaline pumping, testosterone through the roof, action battle ready in 3 seconds flat.
No coffee needed.
Yeah.
No coffee cherries needed.
Right.
So there are a lot of places where they're still living in a very traditional way, and there are these traditional villages that people still live in, but that you as a tourist can go and pay them their fee, and they will give you a tour of their village. And so we did this, and it was like going to a reenactment village. Like, I don't know if any of you have heard of like Colonial Williamsburg or just other places where they have old-timey houses and people dress up in the old-timey clothes, except it wasn't like that, because this is these people's actual life and their actual houses. So the way it's set up is that they have they build houses literally out of cow manure. And every 9 years, they relocate and build all their houses again because the termites have eaten too much of it. So they restart every 9 years. Their houses are made out of cow dung. And they keep all their cows in like so they build all their houses in a big circle. So they have like a courtyard, and then they keep their cows in there. And that's pretty much the majority of their subsistence is raising these cows and doing a bit of farming. And so obviously it's not exactly a very high standard of living as Americans would typically think of it. However, I was observing, the community that they have, and it is an extremely close and cohesive, family structure and community structure. And you have to ask, would you rather be born in a Maasai village or be born somewhere in like the bad part of Baltimore or Chicago, where even economically your standard of living is still gonna be way better because you would still probably have like a refrigerator and like a TV and stuff, but your social structure would be way worse. At least it would appear so. And I think it's not obvious what you would pick.
I agree. I mean, what you're saying about happiness and stuff doesn't depend upon like what the possessions you have, and it more depends on community and stuff like that. There's a great documentary about this called Happy People by Werner Herzog. And he travels to the taiga, and it's this nomadic tribe who has almost nothing, and they're in like Siberian wasteland where it's freezing cold all the time, but they're like the happiest people, and they're very content with what they have, and they all love each other, and they squabble just like any other humans, but for the most part they subsist on very little, but they enjoy their lives. And I don't know, that's a tough question to answer, man, like, because people in America get so obsessed, or maybe just first world people get so obsessed with these people don't have all the technology we have, we must get it to them, how can they live without all this, like we must get all this stuff to them. But like when you go around America especially, far fewer percentage of people are happy and satisfied with their lives than most likely than any of the people that I saw in that documentary. I mean, that's a tough question to answer. I don't know what the answer actually would be.
If it's a relative scale to just people around you, I mean, I'd rather be at one of those Maasai places, honestly.
Yeah.
Because every now and then you get a guy like Israel Adesanya that's going to show up and throw $2 million into your town, right? You get guys like Jack Dorsey that's like, hey, I want to set up a Bitcoin mining operation in that volcano you guys don't go near. I'll give you $1 million a year. Sounds great. Let's do that.
And I don't bring this up to say that like I'm thinking about selling all of my earthly possessions and moving to Kenya, because I'm very much not. And I'm still very grateful for all the modern conveniences I have. But I do think that it's worth reflecting on, there's a lot of things in the first world that really stress me out, where it's like the worst case scenario is if you just completely remove that from your life entirely, you still have it really good.
Oh, well, I mean, draw the parallels, right? Like downtown Atlanta is not that far of a cry from Kenya in terms of certain concerns. Oh my God, someone crapped right where I'm about to eat. Right? Like, I mean, if you look at it like that, I mean, if that, what really, like when you get down to it, what really matters to your life and your ability to provide? Refrigeration, plumbing, central heating and air. Yeah. Those are great, dude.
But then when you get a little too far down and you get like babies with iPads, and then you start to get a problem of like technology.
Those are the neighborhoods where an 8-year-old's going to stab you because you're wearing a certain brand on your hood, on your sweatshirt. You know?
The technology's gotten to a point now where it's, and for us in this world, in this country, it's growing so rapidly that we have this attitude of just like, you know, there's no like long-term studies on, you know, what can come of this because it's happening so fast. There is no possible way to even do a long-term study or whatever. Right. And we have a lot of things where we have more compared to like the family structures that Zane was talking about, where everything is very close-knit. We're more isolated and separate. We feel connected because we're on the internet and everything, but that's like a sort of illusion of connection. And then if you have like kids growing up with all these like just dopamine sort of, you know, inducing devices or whatever, and then if you train yourself in this way for so long, then it's going to be hard to be happy if the only way to be sort of like content or happy or satisfied or whatever is if you're doing all this and all this and all this and all this, and like it gets to a point where I think you condition yourself to basically be like unhappy or unwell. And if you think about our roots as people, we're a social species, and I think that we might be going a little far to the point where if we're measuring it on happiness, then the quality of life, I think it's a valid observation. I think it's a valid question to see like how we are using our technology and is it actually serving us at this point?
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said about like putting yourself through discomfort. I think like the more time,
the ice bath guy,
yeah. I just think the more time you spend, like if you spend 99.9% of your time in as comfortable as you can be, then at some point you're going to get used to that, and anything outside of that is going to make you miserable.
Yeah,
that's why a lot of folks from the left coast have this notion that life should be stress-free. Oh, that stressed me out, so I just went back home. Or, oh, you know, that wasn't low-key enough, so I just avoided it. And it's like,
avoidance is
hey, newsflash, dude. Life is a terrifying series of events with the occasional plateau of happiness.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, you know, this whole notion of like, oh, I've got to be stress-free all the time. No, you don't. You're not built like that. That's not what our body's for. You know, I think want to know why so many Americans are fat, because they feel like they have to, I've got to de-stress. I've got to de-stress. No, you got to power through it and realize you're made for this.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about the discomfort and accepting that life is, you know, full of peaks and valleys, and I like doing the like cold shower in the morning to like kind of like, if you can't do that at least, then like what else am I not, you know, taking on or whatever. And so
I like that. You know, whatever it is, you know, some little thing, some little piece of discomfort. I don't do the cold shower in the morning because that's like my only like prayer time. You know, a lot of guys do that, like, you know, they spend an extra 10 minutes in the driveway when they get home from work before they go see the family. I don't get that luxury. They meet me in the driveway half the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's, you know, my quiet solitude time to gather myself is my shower in the morning. So, you know, when it's not cold and I'm not in survival mode, that's when I think the best, honestly.
No, I understand. Everyone.
But yeah, I mean, I like your tactic. I like what you're saying about that. It makes sense. It's you know, from a psychological, even like on a primitive nature, like that's what we need. What are you doing? You know, even if you're in the upper echelons, if you're in the top 10%, 5%, 1% of income levels, what are you doing to make yourself uncomfortable? You know, you're never the king of the jungle. And that's the whole thing. And, you know, that's how you adapt to survival in the modern westernized, industrialized age. Over here, you know, our Maasai warriors put on suits and ties and go trade billions of dollars every day that's not theirs. You know, their Maasai warriors are ready to go from a deep sleep to picking up a thorn patch and beating a cheetah to death.
Funny that you say cheetah. I just watched a video of a guy like literally like sleeping in his tent with cheetahs or whatever, like at some kind of thing. Not sleeping, but like literally sleeping, like just, you know.
Yeah. Pass on that.
I don't know. They were all snuggling. It seemed cozy. But yeah, anyway, embracing something like that can help kind of regulate you. And I think keeping this in mind, like Zane said, he's not running off to like, live in Kenya or something, but it can help you be grateful for what you have, and it can help you maybe reprioritize sometimes to see something relative to how we live.
And what can I do in my pampered, industrialized, high per capita GDP life, to make myself uncomfortable enough to still evolve and grow on a basic primitive level in the micro, and still adapt to the macro of my Western nation surroundings.
Yeah, the culture around you.
Yeah.
Zane, did that adequately scratch your itch of observations?
I do have one more quick thing if we have time, but that'll be the last thing.
We have a pretty hard out, but yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, so going back to more of the economic piece, there's been a lot of work by economists looking at the importance of institutions in enhancing economic growth. So like how robust is the rule of law? How much do people trust that the institutions that they deal with on a day-to-day basis are not going to screw them over? How conducive is it to saving and investing your money? And there are a lot of things that I observe that are probably not super conducive to that, because what has happened, I think, in a lot of developing countries is that they are essentially putting on they're dressing up as democracies. They're kind of pretending to adopt these Western democratic values when really the underlying culture isn't there to support it. So you end up with them doing some kind of crazy stuff. Like my sister works is a teacher at a school over there, and she told me about several times where she has observed the politicians will just come around to these schools trying to hype up how good of a politician they are, and they will literally just hand huge wads of cash to the principal and say, I'm making this donation to this school to do X, Y, and Z, and just hand over this huge wad of cash. And then, of course, that whatever they promise doesn't actually happen because all the teachers just take it for themselves. It's like they don't even have the idea of what democracy is supposed to be like. Like in the US, obviously there is corruption out the wazoo, and on way greater, to a much greater extent than just stealing wads of cash. But there's at least the idea that it's not supposed to be like that. Whereas there, I think kind of everybody just thinks, this is the way it is, and we're just obviously pretending that it's not. Like the other thing is, you see a lot of signs over there, and the signs all say corruption-free zone. Or I saw a comment box that it said, report corruption here. It's like whenever you see a sign that says corruption-free zone, you know that whatever zone that you're in is hopelessly corrupt, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And like going to the airport, when you go to the Nairobi airport, you have to go through security 3 different times. You have to get out of your car and walk through security before you even get to the airport. Then you have to go through security with all your bags. Then you have to go through security again once you've checked your check bags. And at each step, I'm pretty sure nothing is even being accomplished at any step.
Right.
Because on multiple occasions, I don't think this was at the airport, but it was somewhere else where we had to go through security. I just walked through security and I forgot to take my phone out of my pocket. The metal detector goes off really loudly for everybody to hear. Nobody does anything. And the next person just walks right on through this metal detector again. Nobody cares. It's just the
like the shoplifting alarm in San Francisco. Like
it's like they've got all the stuff set up to pretend like they're doing the sorts of things that Western countries do, but they're not. They have the form, but not the content.
You ever seen a kid pick up a plastic phone and make a phone call?
Yeah.
And it's like mimicking what mom or dad sounds like on the phone, has holding a phone-ish thing, you know, but like is sort of just going through the motions. I don't mean to be mean about this or whatever, but the analogy stands a little bit, I think.
You ever seen the Iraqi army try to perform moves that the American military taught them? Like,
oh.
Hey, those monkey bars, though.
They're crushing those monkey bars. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man.
If we have a few more fires in this country, we're going to be living out of cinder block homes anyway. So like,
that's very true.
So take these lessons to heart for real.
And ironically, if we all lived in cinder block homes to begin with, we'd have fewer fires.
If your cow patty house burns down, build another one. You know, like
right.
Yeah. Unlimited.
There is a truth to this. Like, yeah.
Well, and thank God again for entities like the Mtindo network. How do you say it, Jake?
Yeah.
Mtindo, yeah.
Yeah.
The guest we had on
Yeah. We had them on the show. I think they have a presence in Kenya. I think that's what she mentioned when we had her on too.
I think so. Yeah.
She was in Uganda specifically, but they're in a few African nations, and they're throwing out the Rothbard, bro. You know, so it's getting taught. It's getting taught. So it's one of those where, you know, Zane, what you mentioned as their detriment is also their massive upside potential, because they don't have the basic human temptations on a 24/7 rotating basis like we do in their face all the time. You know, all they've known is this, and then somebody comes through with, you know, some Rothbardian concepts, you know, Mises, you know, Austrian economics, things like that, and these folks are extremely receptive to it, because they're
Mises,
like,
this is measles.
This is you know, this is what my human soul has told me my whole life. I've just been waiting for this.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right. Well, Zane, it's always great when you come back from a trip, man, because we talk about things we wouldn't normally talk about. So keep doing that. Love it. Yeah, but now it's a very special time of the evening.
I am not fucking drunk.
19th blue.
Every pretty girl deserves to go to a ball.
This is everything about it's a clam. I love it.
I gotta be honest with you, I feel like I'm a little bit too drunk to stand up. On Tuesday, asshole.
I'm drunk right now.
All right, y'all. Welcome to Drunkard of the Week. This should have been last week's, but I forgot about it, and so now it's going to be this week's. And most of y'all have probably already seen it, but it's worth watching like a dozen times. So please enjoy this like 5-minute Drunkard of the Week.
Is it a Trudeau?
Most excited for 2025.
Oh,
yes.
Forgetting 2024. Awesome. I'm now playing, you know, like 3,000 seat theater, which is about the viewership of CNN these days. I'm also a fan of entertainment that just entertains. There's this new thing where everything in Hollywood has to like lecture people how to vote. It didn't make you feel guilty about global warming. It's just a fun show, no creeps. It's just warm, wholesome. I do believe we need to hold 2024 accountable for its behavior. That is what white women do now. We point out other things that are toxic because we don't get irony, and that is our truth. This was the year that people were behaving so poorly, we started being wistful about murderers. Remember, this was the year we were like, were the Menendez brothers so bad? Were we too hard on the Menendez brothers? This was the year we could not get enough of murderers. Gypsy Rose became our favorite celebrity because murdering your mom is so brat. They had her on a red carpet, a little on the nose for a murderer, but she was like posing in a fancy dress. We were like, slay, and she was like, I did. And of course, our heartthrob of the year was the alleged cold-blooded killer named Luigi, who is now in the same prison as Diddy, which I'm very upset about because Luigi already has a lower back issue. This was the year nothing made sense. Fertility was down, sales of baby oil was up, white supremacy groups reached record highs. It got so bad, Ariana Grande became white again. 2024 totally broke our brains. Half the people I know think we're in a simulation. I'm starting to wonder. When I go to a website and it asks me if I'm a robot or not, half the time I get the quiz wrong. I'm like, does the shadow of a bike count as a bike? I don't know. Why am I looking at a grainy photo of a crack house? We just all broke mentally this year. Things got so bleak. We started watching the WNBA. Was that what happened? And we also started watching older women in movies. Equality or insanity? You tell me. Demi Moore was in a movie called The Substance, showing that Hollywood's ready for a woman in her 50s to star in a movie as long as a hot 28-year-old wears a leotard for most of it. Pam Anderson's getting Oscar buzz for a movie she did wearing no makeup. Guys, that's not progress if you call it brave. Documentaries finally realized the only way to make money is to just make them about cheerleaders. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleader doc showed the girls being treated horribly, underpaid, crying. I thought I'd open a video on Hunter Biden's laptop. This is the year everyone hated the movie The Joker, but if you do love watching men descend into insanity, in a couple hours you get to watch Andy Cohen do the countdown.
Oh, God.
In 2024, some things left us, some came back. Sanity left us. Somehow crypto is back. Do you guys even know what crypto? No one thought the timing of crypto was fishy. As soon as women started making money, they were like, money's over. Money's over. I don't even know what crypto is. As far as I understand, it's just astrology for men. Like, I don't. 2024 election fried our brains. The Democrats couldn't hold a primary because they were too busy holding a body upright.
Oh,
Are we still
God.
rolling? Am I off?
Go for it.
It was amazing that the pro-choice party didn't give their voters one when it came to the presidential candidate. Kamala was forced on us so hard you'd think she was patented by Pfizer or Moderna, whichever one's. Oh, God. Andy just gave me a very scary look.
No!
Let me be clear, though. 2024 was not only negative. The media wants us to believe this country is so divided, but we actually came together a lot this year. Like, as a nation, we unanimously agreed that we would rather see J-Lo in a toxic relationship than in concert. We all agree the government totally knows what drones are and aren't telling us. The drones are still up there, and we have no idea what's behind them. No idea. I mean, they're still up in the sky, so I guess we can rule out that they were made by Boeing. The point is, I think we all agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Since I only have a minute left live on Establishment Media, why don't we just say a bunch of things that we know that they'll never cover? Okay, ready, go. Trump shooter didn't have any silverware in his house. No one thought that was weird? Are we still rolling? Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia put money into Disney, so just know there won't be any girl characters in the next Cars movie. Are we still rolling? This is wild. Why have so many presidents' chefs died? Weird. Boy Scout of America, they renamed itself Scouting America. You know how else changed their name? Sean Combs. Just saying. Let's learn something in 2025. I can't believe you guys are still letting me go. This is amazing. I love seeing that. Please stop me, Andy, because I will just keep going.
Happy New Year, Whitney Cummings.
We want to be free to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
We want to get loaded. Yeah. And we want to have a good time.
Dude. Superhero, yeah.
I mean, I thought she friggin' nailed that.
Oh, hilarious. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, it's honestly shocking that they didn't cut her mic or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what was going on there. Like, yeah.
They're that desperate for ratings.
I guess
I think it's okay when it comes from a comedian because they can just be like, that's not our stance. And it's like good for views or whatever.
Well,
so
that's why they put it in quotes, too. Her roast of 2024.
Yeah. So
because people are going to search that on YouTube, the roast of 2024, and instead of the Netflix show, they're going to get that.
No, it could be.
Yeah.
That was tamer than the Netflix show for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And she was there with her target audience, gay white men.
All right, y'all. We've come to the funny part of the episode because I got to get out of here in like 3 minutes. So, yeah. If you haven't gone and checked it out, go to peacefulseed.network. Check out our website. You can join the Dollar Media Club. $12 a year. You get access to a whole bunch of awesome stuff, including our streaming center, which has movies, documentaries, shows, subscriber-only podcasts, and much more. You get discounts and access to the Discord and stuff like that. So without further ado, y'all, did you know that 4 years ago today, this man was moments away from taking complete control of the U.S. government? It's just crazy to think about.
And did you know that if you slapped a chicken at 3,926 miles an hour, it would cook it in one slap?
Okay.
Did he get his ivory from Connecticut?
That was good.
I hear they're the whaling capital of the country.
All right. So cameraman sacrificed his job for this one. Here you go.
And just a final question here. Is there any sort of work
Is that
being
not?
done
Can you not hear anything?
with the
I
airline
hear it.
We got it.
in order to get flights actually on time or not delayed as much? Just curious if there's any work happening there.
Yes. So we've seen almost a doubling in terms of improvement on on-time performance since last year. That is a reflection that we've done a system together with our partner airlines, with agencies, reducing processing time, reducing wait times, and fine-tuning operations with our air carrier partners. And we see the great results that have come from that.
Brilliant.
That's great.
Cameraman's the hero on that one, y'all. That's
Yeah.
so good. That's so good.
That's so funny.
All right.
So you saw the Amish building the houses in North Carolina, right? Where FEMA was like, "Hey, stop that," and they did it anyways.
Yeah.
That sparked me thinking about, like, so if you take an Amish girl out on a date, right, and it's a candlelit dinner, how does she know you're trying to be romantic versus it just being a normal dinner?
Yeah, if you want to be exotic, you should do like a foam lit dinner.
Right. Ironically enough, same thing with a socialist. Candlelit dinner. How does she know it's just a romantic dinner instead of a normal one?
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jake's fading on us.
I was yawning. My bad. Okay.
We know.
Here's the next one.
Evil prank if you pulled off. This got put on Reddit. My mum's laptop wallpaper was a profile of her granddaughter. I copied the picture 100 times and made her wallpaper a slideshow of the same picture over and over again. So the file would change, but nothing would change visibly on the monitor. The pictures would change every 10 seconds. One of the images, I painted a tiny little curly moustache on her. So randomly, for 10 seconds, my niece would have a moustache. My mum thought she was either losing her mind or had a computer virus, and every time the moustache popped up, it was gone by the time she tried to show anyone.
Oh, my God.
What evil prank have you pulled off? This got put on Reddit. My mum's laptop wallpaper was a profile of her granddaughter. I copied the picture 100 times and made her wallpaper a slideshow of the same picture over and over again. So the file would change, but nothing would change visibly.
Sorry.
So good.
That was a
goodness.
Great prank. The audience is whining because they had a bunch of questions lined up for Zane. Save the questions. He can answer them next week.
Join the Discord. He'll answer them in the chat.
Yeah,
fair.
If you're part of the DMC, you can join the Discord and we can chat, to your heart's content. All right, next one. I don't know what this one is. I put it in there because Alden put it in the hilarity section. So we'll see if this is too much.
You didn't watch it?
Nope, didn't watch it.
It's not bad.
Okay.
A question. Is it for fuck's sake or for fuck's sake? Like, should I put an apostrophe to show possessive? I guess the question would be, is it for the sake of all fucks or for just this fuck in particular? I don't know. Let me know, because I'm at work trying to send an email and I want it to sound professional.
I want to sound professional.
Yeah, there you go. Just hashtag FFS. Be done with it.
That's really good. All right. Final one of the evening. There you go.
Request, and it might offend some people, but can we stop raising awareness for things? It's too much. I know too much. I'm too aware. I don't need to know everything that's going on in the world. Okay, I don't need you to be like telling me all these things that I wouldn't traditionally know. I was designed to live in a mud hut. Yeah, very quiet life, being bombarded.
We were just talking about this.
I, quite frankly, don't want to know about. Mm-hmm. In fact, let's try and raise unawareness. Yeah, I don't know how that can happen, but I'm just a big fan of raising unawareness.
Great take.
I've had it.
Great take. Great take.
Raising unawareness.
Yeah, well, Raising Arizona was Nicolas Cage's best movie.
I was just thinking Raising Arizona.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's funny.
Do gay midgets come out of the cabinet?
What? We're trying to make this thing longer.
Sorry.
For no dadgum reason. For the sake of a ridiculous joke. Oh, Lord. All right, everybody. Well, that was episode 107 of Liberty Libations. Go check out peacefulsea.network. Tune in to the Wrexham Texan on Sundays, Banish Big Brother and Free Georgia podcast on Mondays. And the Cascade Effect, episode 4, comes out tomorrow, Friday, January 10th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. So be sure to tune into that. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.